Director of Entrepreneurship at Covenant. Good? I'll start over. Brian DeLorge, Director of Entrepreneurship at Covenant I. Been with them going on 5 years now, and really great company to work for. Covenant I, if you're not aware of their story, started in, I think it was 99 or maybe the year 2000. Rhonda Haas, our founder, and Colin Rose, who now owns and operates Daystar, started Covenant I for the explicit purpose of internet accountability. Covenant I, as Justin mentioned, we now have gone from 2 people with this great idea to 225 employees, average yearly revenue about 30 million and growing, and we serve people all over the world. And our mission at Covenant I is to help protect folks that are online, help protect them from pornography specifically, and other explicit things that folks probably don't want to see when they're surfing the web. So what we've been doing at Covenant I and how we came to this is we realized a few years ago that we needed to start thinking a little differently about the way we operate our business. A lot of folks, I would include some of you in this as well, we wake up one day, we've got a great idea, and we just get to work, and essentially we're bullheaded enough, we just create our own jobs, and it's a great idea, and people seem to like it, and so we move forward. And Covenant I did that for a long time, and then realized one of the things that we need to do is work on the business as much as we work in the business. And so as we tried to figure out our way and how do we do that, we came across a series. In fact, I've got what I have to present to you today is not of my own invention. Alexander Osterwalder is a gentleman out of Switzerland, I believe. Don't quote me on that. He came up with this idea of the business model canvas. Covenant I took this idea and said, hey, this seems like a good idea. Will help us put down on paper what it is we're trying to do. And so we started in on this, and really my role at Covenant I is to foster an entrepreneurial spirit and help folks get to a place where we're thinking out of the box instead of just what we do with internet accountability. And so as we grow this within our business, it really has transformed the way we operate from a leadership level on down. It's really helped us understand we can do other things too, because we're all aware businesses should diversify. Otherwise, businesses don't last long if you don't adapt and grow. So in that vein, we realize that we've been doing this for long enough that the group that we have that does this on a regular basis, the group that I work with, we did some introspection and said, we could be falling into this trap of groupthink, where our daily jobs all the time focus on how do we help protect people who go online. And when you think about that, you think about that, you think about that, sometimes you lose that entrepreneurial spirit. You start to just look around and go, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, and we don't really analyze it. So as we sat down, we said, we should really involve this with other businesses in our community. And what we realized is what we're going to talk about today is helpful to all businesses. You don't have to be an internet company. This is not a digital, futuristic thing. This is whether you're dog grooming or you're, consulting or retail, it doesn't matter. This applies to all businesses. It's a way to help you think about your business, really work on it, and understand what are the strengths of my business, what is it that I do, what do I have to do to keep going forward in business, and where are some opportunities for me, and hopefully along the way, and we'll really dive into this in a few weeks when we come back for the round 2, deeper dive, is we'll start discussing and helping people think about what are some other things, what are the strengths that I have that I can build on and even build more business models and help expand the business. So this has nothing to do with technology. This has everything to do with let's be entrepreneurial in spirit. Think about how we move forward our businesses, how we can grow them. And even along the way, have some aha moments of, hey, you know what, that's a great idea. And in the last meeting, a gentleman asked, he said, Covenant I, you're doing this for free, and we all get free lunches. And I appreciated the tone when he said, what's in it for you? And quite honestly, what's in it for us is what I just mentioned. We want to be able to, what I've experienced in my role doing this is, when I help other folks look at business model canvases, there's always something that triggers in my mind, oh, you know, we could do this better at Covenant Eyes. There's always some part, somewhere in here, key resource or channel, we'll talk about what these boxes mean, something where I look at it a little bit differently than I had previously, and it helps us to form new ideas. Now, for some perspective, we've been doing this, like I said, I've been there going on 5 years, been doing this a long time. Covenant Eyes has, I think I quoted last time I was here, 31 or maybe 32 now, unique business models that we work on, try to exploit, and try to help grow and expand our business. And we've been doing this for a while. I wouldn't expect you guys to want to come out of here with 30 business models today, but over time, you just may. Those business models and those canvases all have different focuses. And as we go along today, you'll see how those come into existence. The business model canvas really is a living document. And so in front of you, you have a business model canvas to use. The first rule of business model canvases, you don't write on it. Okay? That's why we passed out some of those small Post-it notes. Write on those, put them in the squares as we go through them, think about them. My hope today is that this will be interactive. You guys will ask questions. I'll do my best to answer them, and if I, for some reason, get stumped by somebody, I'll take a note and get you the answer. Along the way, though, you can put down your ideas, and this is intended to give you an idea of the definition of a business model canvas, how they work, how you should use them, and then my goal, my hope is you will go back to your place of work, your business, whatever it is, go home maybe, think about it, put some sticky notes on there, think about it with other business partners you may have, and then on November 11th, you'd come back and maybe we'll have volunteers that stand up and say, this is my business model canvas, now let's poke holes in it, for the intention of all of us getting better. So that's kind of the intro and the background of how we get here. What I get out of it is getting better at my job every day, which is to help Covenant Eyes foster entrepreneurial ideas and things like that. So with that, before I get started, any questions? All right, hearing none. What I'm going to do today is, this is on the wall here, I have a blown-up version, you can all see, a business model canvas. Okay? I'll use my notes, because I'm going to read some definitions, and if you have questions, I don't want to misspeak. So, a business model canvas is for, as I said, anybody who has an entrepreneurial spirit. Maybe you own or operate a business, or you're constantly thinking about how to create value for your customers. Maybe you want to build new businesses, or some folks say, hey, I want to improve and transform the business that I work in. Regardless if you're an owner or somebody laying a file, this is a good way to think about business. And really, we have found at Covenant Eyes, this has really been an innovative way for us to find new ways of doing the business that we do quite well. Covenant Eyes is far and away the leader in the category that we operate in. We don't want to rest on those laurels, we want to keep improving. So, with that, the business model canvas is meant to describe the rationale of how an organization creates, delivers, and captures value for the organizations or individuals that you will try to target. That's the main intention. Now, the business model canvas has 9 key boxes. You can see them all laid out. You can look at them more closely in the sheet in front of you. I will go through all 9 of them, try to ask questions along the way. If I go too fast, because I'm a little bit passionate and excited, I get to talking too fast. So don't be afraid to raise your hand and say, can you slow down and go over that one again? So feel free to take notes, speak up, ask questions. This is meant to be interactive, so let's not sit here and let me do all the talking. Okay. Business model canvas. And we do this at Covenant Eyes. We leave it up on a wall like this. We usually have a group of folks from time to time that come and work on it. And we've found it's great that having a pile of sticky notes around, because someone can put an idea out somewhere, and then as the group starts to think about what it is that's up there or what the motive is for the day, we realize, oh wait, that's maybe not a key resource, maybe it's a key activity. But you want to have it be done as a group. You don't want to do this on your own, because people get down a tunnel sometimes. So make sure you're involving others as you're going through this. Right. Questions about that overall idea of what a business model canvas is? Okay. The 9 boxes. This business model canvas, I'm going to go through each definition, and when we're done, we're going to talk about how they relate. Okay? The story that they tell, how you can, it's really a unified language when we get to use these in a company like Cover and I, like I do every day. We understand it, so we understand how the flow of the languages, and I'm hoping to give that to you today so you can take that with you for your businesses. So let's start with some definitions. Customer segments. This seems pretty obvious, right? We all want everybody to buy our product all the time, forevermore. That's my customer segment, right? Not so fast, my friend, I say. Customer segments really need to define the different categories or groups of people or organizations that you serve or want to serve. You need to be able to define them, call them out. Okay? At the end of this today, as I go through this, I have 2 examples already ready-made to go that you can see, so you'll be able to see all of this come together. But the definition here is customer segments are those specific groups or organizations you're targeting. Okay? You will have separate segments if the different groups require or justify a distinct offer. Okay? Or if you reach them through significantly different channels, relationships, or completely different aspects of the offer that you have in general. All right, now, we all got to have customers. Could be people lined up at your door. But if you don't have something to sell them, it's all for naught. That's going to be your value proposition. And your value proposition is defined as the bundle of products and services that create value for the specific customer segment or segments that you have identified. The idea here is define, write out what you're doing that solves the customer problem or meets their specific needs. All right. So we have value propositions and customer segments, and those go together. And that might seem like enough or great, but it's not deep enough. We need to go a little deeper to understand a few more things. So we got these value propositions, we got these customer segments. Next, let's talk about channels, or how we deliver our value proposition to the specific customer segments that we want to target. Okay? So the channels will describe how you communicate with and reach your customer segments to deliver the value product. There are 3 distinct ways that you do this. They are through communication with your potential customers, through distribution of your product, and finally with sales. Now, those 3 channels, those are overarching ideas. There really are 5 different phases that customers or potential customers go through. Okay? The first one is awareness. Okay? You got to figure out how to make customers aware so that they can decide whether or not they want to purchase your product. The second phase is the evaluation phase. Does your value proposition, is it better than, say, the next option that may be out there? Then, through the purchase process, what channel do they purchase our product from us? After that, we have to figure out how we're going to deliver that to them. Could be direct mail, could be one-to-one, could be they come into your storefront, purchase it, hand in hand, all kinds of options. Finally, after delivery, you need to consider post-sales or the opportunity to upsell. 5 of those phases fit somewhere in communication, distribution, or sales. 3 basic channels of how you would acquire, maintain, and even upsell customer segments. Okay, so that's how we deliver the value proposition. Now there's this idea up here of what kind of relationship do we want to have, or even more directly, what kind of relationship does the customer segment expect to have with us? So it's really 2 ways, that's relationship. Now this is going to describe the type of relationship that the company establishes with those individual customer segments, and they may be different for each segment. So the first one is going to be centered around customer acquisition. What do I got to do to acquire the customer? Secondly, customer retention, and finally, upselling or boosting sales. Those all are high level. You want to think about things like, is it personal assistance? Maybe it's dedicated personal assistance where I have a client manager assigned to a given client. Perhaps it's automated, or even the customer says, you know what, I want to buy your product on my own. I don't need your help. You've given me lots of good communication in the channels down here. I'm aware, I've done my evaluation. I just want to purchase it from you. I don't even need to talk to you. Okay? So you want to think about what relationship not only do you want to have, but what do they want from you specifically. So, value propositions, customer segments. Got to have good customer relationships in the way that probably the customer wants them, but you can guide that in the way that you want to communicate with them. And then the channels of the delivery of how you get your value proposition to the customer segment. Now finally, down here, the bottom line, here's the bottom, revenue streams. Quite important, right? If we don't have revenue streams, we're not going to last long as business people, as owners of companies. So, revenue streams, obviously it seems obvious, represents the cash generated from each customer segment. Two main types, you all know this, but I'll say it, transactional and recurring. Okay? Now, if you come up here and look at this sheet, feel free to do that. There's lots of other ideas and thoughts that are on here. Those are the main high level, what is a business model canvas. So, we're just over halfway through what is a business model canvas. Now, here at Owasso, we have a community theater, and so I like to think about this in two ways. The 5 things that we just talked about is the stage, or the front of the house, if you think about a theater. Okay, this is what the customer sees. They know if you've done your job, they understand what your value proposition is. The customer segments that you've identified, or that happen to fall in, even if you've misidentified, they understand what it is that you're trying to sell them. They understand how you're delivering that product to them. And you and they both have a good understanding of this is how we want to interact together. This is what we want our relationship to be. We do all this well. The customer then gives us money, we have revenue streams. Okay, now that might seem like enough. Whew, did my job, made money today. Okay, let's all go home. And we say to that, not so fast. There's the other half of the house, the back of the house. These are the things that you have to be able to do on a regular basis in order to maintain your business. This is the stuff, this is the part of the theater you don't see. This is the behind the curtain, if you will. All of these are necessary. You have to be able to do these things in order to provide your value proposition to your customer segment. Any questions so far before I talk about how those all relate with each other? None? I'm doing a perfect job. Hitting my stride. All right. Okay, so back of the house. You have 4 boxes on the back of the house. You have key activities, key resources, cost structure, and key partners. Okay, the first I want to talk about is key resources. These are the most important assets, key resources, most important assets required to make your model work. Okay? These are the things that you have. Okay? They could be physical. Your production plant, you got to have a building, put your lines in, etc. Okay? Could be intellectual. Maybe you've got a patent on whatever it is you do. Furthermore, you need people. You got to have people to do the work. Could be financial. Maybe you have unlimited financial resources. Okay, that is a type of a key resource that you would be able to have and put in here. You want to identify those things when you're working in a business model canvas. You don't want this canvas to be secretive. When you're working within your company, you're working to expand your business, put everything on here that's important. Now, if you have some sort of top secret, can't share this because it will undercut my business, don't put it on here. But you could write IP instead of what it actually is, et cetera. So again, key resources I must have in order for my business to operate. All right, key activities. What are the key activities that my value proposition requires? Okay, these are the most important things that you must do. You have to do these. If it goes in this box, it's because you absolutely require it to be done almost every day. Maybe every day, maybe you have a different schedule, but it certainly has got to be done. If you don't do it, your business model won't work. Okay, I mentioned a few minutes ago manufacturing. If they don't absolutely do, think about the big three, Ford, Chrysler, GM, those guys. If they don't produce vehicles, if they don't do production every day, they can't sell cars. They have to do that. Another one that I like to talk about is hospitals or consultants even, service-oriented businesses. Those kinds of businesses are great at problem solving. And think about an emergency room, somebody comes in, doctor's got to be able to figure out what the problem is and solve it. Okay? It's the same for consultants. I have to be able to figure out what it is you're trying to do so that I can guide you better to do your business better. You got to write those things down and make sure they're called out. Now, it would be great, in my opinion, if everything that you needed to do or everything that you had to have, you had in-house. Okay, there are companies out there that exist. There's certain things that you just do it yourself. Most businesses, though, require some sort of key partnership. Okay, it could be as simple as my key partnership is FTDC because Justin's great and helps me get out into the business. Okay, not always will you be able to do everything yourself. You have to have some key partnerships. Okay, key partnerships is the network of suppliers and partners that make your model work. Okay, see ways to think about this. Think economy of scale. Key partners can help you optimize the business model that you have. Okay. Also, key partners can reduce your risk. Maybe it's a key for you to have capital income from an investment group. Okay, gotta have those guys. The other thing that key partnerships can help you do is acquire resources. Okay, at Covenant I specifically, there's a lot of stuff we do out on the web. We don't own all the servers that our folks might deal with. And we have key partners that help us do things. Okay? We'll see that a little bit later when I get into our business model. I will be sharing one of our business models that I think is important for you guys to see. We want you to be open and honest with us. I'm here to help show you this is what we do and how we think about things. Okay, so the back of the house so far. Key activities, key resources, key partnerships. Wouldn't it be great if all that was free? Man, it'd be awesome, right? I got no expenses. Now, right next to revenue streams, all of these things, key activities, resources, key partners, come with a cost structure. This is the section where you're going to want to identify specifically what the main or primary costs to your business include. Okay? This will describe all of the costs incurred to operate the business. Okay, don't fool yourself and leave something off and say, down there. If you require a lot of postage because you ship internationally, you can write down, hey, I spend a lot on postage every day. Okay, those are things that you got to write down. Some expenses are going to be fixed, obviously. Some are going to be variable. Some businesses think about this particular section a little differently, though. Okay. Some businesses are cost-driven. Some are going to be more value-driven. So you got to think about which one are you. Okay, and write down here, you know what, I'm actually a cost-driven business. I really got to reduce my expenses. I really think about that all the time. On the flip side, you may be a business that says, yeah, that's going to be expensive, but we got to have that. That provides us so much value for key resources, or helps us do a particular key activity. You want to identify that. Think about that category. Now, use the situation to not only note those important costs inherent in your business, you may also want to note the most expensive key resources and key activities. Okay? One of the things that you'll see for Covenant Eyes is, we talked about this, we have 225 employees, we have some excellent team members, we pay them well. One of our key resources is the human capital that we have. So we write down here in the bottom, we write down wages. You know, we need to make sure we're paying our people well. All right. All 9 of these boxes make up and form the basis. I think this is important to remember. Form the basis for a handy tool that you can use in your business. It's known as the business model canvas. That is the business model canvas in a nutshell. Alexander Osterwalder and his team, I showed you the book that started this all, Business Model Generation. Covenant Eyes has gone beyond just business model generation. Alexander and his team, they have 4 books now. And we're pretty deep into them. We use not just this one all the time, but the other 2 they have as well. One of the things that I mentioned at the beginning, I'll reemphasize it here, how to use the business model canvas. Remember, it's a living, working document. Okay? Today, you might, or sometime, you might look at it and go, yep, this is who we are today. You might go a month and go, wait a minute, you know what, this has changed now, something drastic happened. You might have the same business model that gets you going for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and then you start to think about, I need to do something differently. Or maybe some of your key resources or your channels have changed just due to time and progress and things like that. So it's a living document. You should look at it regularly. You should focus on it. Spend a certain amount of time each week even working on your business, thinking about what do I do well, where can I improve, how do I do those things. Most importantly, or at least from my perspective, in my experience here at Covenant Eyes, it works best with a group mentality, and not just the leadership of your company. You know, just say, hey, I own the joint, and I got my, second in command, and we sit down and we make this up. Bring all levels of your business into the conversation. Some of our greatest aha moments have come from some of our customer service agents who are quite valuable to us. You know, but in terms of large business, people don't think of a customer service person necessarily as being a big, high leader, but they deal with our customers every single day. They talk to them, they hear things, they hear patterns and see things, and they come into the room sometimes and they say, oh, well, this was really what we do. And the whole group goes, oh, that's right. So bring everybody involved. Small groups at first. You don't want to have, 50 people all standing around going, oh, I think this, I think that, because it gets crazy and it's not productive. But have small identified groups, go in and focus on them, and change those groups up every once in a while. Okay? If you have a group come in and work on it, maybe wait a month or 2, bring 3, 4 new people involved. All right. Any questions? There's got to be some questions about business model canvassing or how Covenant is using them. Josh, yes.
So when you're filling this out, you're using a current snapshot of where your business is now. You're not talking about the future.
You can do both.
Okay.
That's the great thing about a business model canvas. So because this is an intro class, I'll put air quotes for those who are listening on the recording. Okay. It's always good to sit down and say, this is my business today. I sit down. Write down, this is who I am. It's sometimes it's a gut check. Boy, I really want to be something, but this is what I am today. Now, as I mentioned earlier when we first started at Covenant Eyes, we have 30 plus of these, and myself and others are working on them all the time. So we certainly have things where we say, okay, this is the one that in fact, the one that I'm going to show you today is the one that is ours currently. We have many more where we say, boy, we'd like to have this particular customer segment that we don't have now. Or we'd like to make this change to our value proposition. So yes, you should have one that says this is who my business is today. And then entrepreneurial spirit, thinking all the time about new things, right? Go create another one. That's why you got sticky notes. You can pull them off. In fact, you guys here in the room, I do this. I go like this. I set them down on the sheet, and then I'll take a note and say, I put the date on it maybe and say, this was us today. And then I have piles of sticky notes at home where I'll pull off some channels and say, what can we do differently in the channels? So yes, you're gonna wanna think forward thinking as well.
Kind of something to follow up to that, do you create different ones for different parts of your business?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah, so if you say, hey, I've got some key resources, maybe I've come into new ones or they changed over time, you can certainly put constraints on the business model canvas and think about, hey, what can we change here? How does it impact the rest of it?
I'm just thinking for us, like, we do retail and wholesale.
Yep.
So I was thinking, like, if I was doing this, I would like blue would be retail, because they have different customer relationships, different channels,
Yeah.
different partnerships. So then I was like, why don't I just create another one and do separate?
Yeah, so for efficiency, you guys will see today, the recommended way to do these is a single, if you're using sticky notes, just grab one stack of, whatever color you got, red, pink, blue, and just do one. I know this is an intro class, but because it's pertinent to the way Covenant does business, you're gonna see my second stack that I show you has 3 different colors on it. It will speak to exactly what you're asking about. So we do that. We have identified customer segments that we call out, and you wanna keep those color-coded so that you don't get confused. But for a first run, we say, write down what you have, what you know. And yes, if you have multiple customer segments, wholesale versus retail, whatever it may be, call them out different.
Ryan, I got a question. So we have a lot of, companies know what their core customer base is usually. And
Usually, yes.
Usually, but yeah. But what I see as a barrier to a lot of those is they know their segment, they know their customer, but they may not know what else they could do or what other industries or customers they could supply. You don't know what you don't know. So how can they use this to think about new opportunities that they may not even be aware of?
Right. So one of the phases that we're going through at Covenant right now is we're pretty well established in the key activities and the key resources that we have. These are things that we excel in all the time. We've been doing it 20 years now and growing. So what we do sometimes is we'll clear off the canvas, clear off the whole thing, and we'll take maybe both of them, maybe just one of them, and we'll say, okay, we do this key activity. And I'll talk about it here in a minute. And we say, using that as the constraint, you can only come up with a new idea if it fits this constraint. Then you start looking at, oh, wait a minute, we do this really well. Right now we do this with whatever that constraint is. We could also do something else. So we just start grabbing sticky notes and putting up this could create a value proposition. So it really helps you. The key is to be able to identify, and sometimes looking at it and writing, you say, yes, we do that. How else can I use that strength to my advantage? Likewise, on the other side, customer segments. We're always looking for new customers, right? We want more people to give us money. So I know what my customer segments are. I might wipe those away and say, you can't use the existing ones, find me new ones. So you might have to think up, brainstorm, what have you, and say, you know what, how about if we went after this particular market? Then you'd have to say, now you get into the evaluation phase of, okay, if we go after them, what are the different channels and relationships that they want from us? Does our value proposition as it currently sits today work for them, or do we need to alter that? So yeah, you can set this thing down, pull off different constraints and say, yes, let's look at this thing pretty hard. And actually, that's a great segue, Justin, almost as if you've been in this class before. For me I want to talk about a business model canvas for Nespresso. Okay? Nespresso is a part of Nestle, okay? And they decided one day that they needed to do and sell more coffee. And they sat down and said, Nestle told this group of people, go do this, here's some money. But you can't impact the current business. So let's try and come up with something new. So what they did was they brought some folks in and they said, our coffee's great, but how about if we do this? What if we provide to some clients high-end restaurant quality espresso, but at home? And so they settled out and said, that's our value proposition. That's what we're going to do. So they sat down and said, well, okay, well, what do we do that with? Well, the first person said, it's kind of a niche market, but wealthy, high-end homes, high-income households. They'll want something like this. They'll love the fact that it's prestigious and high-end. Let's target them. They really like that idea. Somebody else said, you know what? Businesses really like the idea of having high-end stuff. Walk into their office space, they got a nice high-end machine with good quality coffee. How about we go after the office market too? Espresso said, this is awesome, let's do this. So they identified their value proposition. They identified not one, but two very specific customer segments. They said, how would we want these people to relate to us? Or how would they want to relate to us? Well, high-income houses, well-to-do office companies, they want to belong to a club. So let's give them the Espresso Club. You have to be a member of the club in order to buy and get discounts on the coffee. Espresso said, that's awesome. How are we going to get it to them? Espresso said, well, espresso.com. Go on a marketing campaign, tell them to go to espresso.com, they can sign up for the Espresso Club. Espresso also said, we'll give them a dedicated phone number to call. You can call, talk directly to an individual, it gives you all of our options, you can choose what you want, and it'll mail you your coffee. You don't even have to go anywhere, we'll deliver it to you. They also said, let's pick some magazines, put an ad in there, you can mail order, send the form in, we'll send it back to you, you don't even got to leave, I'm going to pick up the phone now. Then they decided, you know what? High-end office markets, high-end households, they really like the idea of boutiques. So, in the right markets, they created Nespresso boutique stores. I thought that was a great idea. And then finally, they said, you know what? There's some high-end stores that already exist. Let's do some retail work. Let them buy the machines in a retail environment. Espresso said, high-end restaurant quality espresso, high-end, high-income households, offices. Gotta be a member of the club in order to get our specific special coffee, right? Those little pods. Can't get them anywhere else, gotta get them from us. Gotta be a club member in order to order them. How do we hook you? Well, you can buy the machine at the store, then you gotta go to the club and buy the pods. You can mail order, you can call us, go to our website and sign up, become a membership, do it all online, or walk into one of our very fancy Nespresso boutique stores. They said, awesome, that's great, let's do that. So, I thought about, okay, our main revenue is going to be those very specific capsules that you can't buy from anybody else. Okay. They also are going to get retail revenue from the machines they sell at retail and some accessories. You gotta have the grinder, you gotta have this, you gotta have spoons, espresso, all that stuff. They said, all right, this is an awesome idea. How do we do this? What do we got to do well to make this happen? First thing they said was, our key activity needs to be great marketing. Okay? Doing a pretty good job of that right now. What's the guy's name? Actor that do that right now? On the commercials? George Clooney. You got George Clooney that speaks for them. Doing good marketing, right? Who doesn't like George Clooney? They also said, we got to be great at production. Let's produce the machines and the pods. Got to be able to produce those pods. Got to have those. They also said, another thing we got to be great at, logistics. Got to make sure all those machines get from the manufacturing warehouses to the people who need them. So they said, those are the things that we know we have to be great at every day. Okay, awesome. What are some of the key resources that they have? Well, they're tied to Nestle, and Nespresso now has a very good brand name. And you just say Nespresso, folks know, ooh, that's good coffee, tie in. Another key resource for them, they bought up some production plants to make sure that their coffee machines are high-end, very precise. They also have patents on the system that they use. Make sure that anybody else can copy what they're doing. Other folks do pods now, but they're not the espresso pods. They don't fit. You gotta buy theirs from them. Additionally, key resource for them. Distribution channels. If you're gonna be able to do production, you gotta be able to make sure you have good distribution of the product. All right. Now, Nestle or Nespresso said, this is great, really like this idea, but we don't do coffee machines very good. That's not something that we do. They said, fine, let's find a coffee machine manufacturer and make them our sole partner. They do. They said, although production plants are a key resource for us, we don't really do production that well. So manufacturing is going to be also a key partner for them. Manufacturing also has some cost to them. So they put key manufacturing down here as part of their key partners and also as a cost. Marketing is their other key cost that they have to do. And all those distribution channels don't come free. So they mark down here, gotta have good distribution channels, and it all comes with a cost. So as you can see, they have walked through kind of this plan of, we have a good value proposition that we're gonna deliver to a lot of good folks who wanna pay us money. But you gotta be part of this special club. We can see how this all kind of plays together. When we do this right, it'll pay us money. In order to deliver on that, we know we gotta have certain key activities, marketing, production, logistics. Gotta have the key resources to help make sure those activities are good. We need a key partner in coffee machine manufacturers. We know those things all come at a cost. Any questions on how that all kind of walks together, or how it all works together? So you gotta have balance, you gotta have certain things on both sides in order for this to work. Got 1 minute before I have to be done. Who wants to stick around for a few and see the covered eyes after this model canvas?
Keep rolling.
Sticking around, keep going? All right, take this off real quick. Any thoughts while I'm ripping this apart before we move on? Been good so far, we like it. Brian, you're terrible, we don't like you, good. Understanding the concept of how the business model canvas works. Got to have all the pieces work together in order to have a successful business.
So you should start what's in it for you. I love the idea of having not only people here today, but we're section, lots of different kinds of businesses. I think bringing everyone together to go through this can create some real innovation, because you get in your box and you don't necessarily know what you don't know. So having others be able to explore what you're trying to do would give you some great perspective. So
Right.
I'm just going to be very curious to see as we proceed with this, how that's going to add value to what you're doing.
Yeah, and that is what we understand, that we kind of get in a lull that says, we've explored that idea, or we've explored this other one over here. We kind of, everybody gets back and thinking, I really like, so-and-so's idea, we should explore that. Well, maybe we identify some activities or resources that we don't have, or they just don't fit, so they just didn't work out. So what happens is you get all those people thinking and saying, we went to a couple of events that Alexander Osterwald and his team put on, and we started to hear how other folks were dealing with some, they had some of the same key resources we did, but they were using them in a completely different manner than we were. That helped us go, oh, we don't even think about that. So seeing other models and how other folks think about models is really helpful. All right, as I promised, the covered eyes.
Do you have a champion that champions, or are you the
This
champion
means,
that goes
yep,
eyes?
this is my responsibility to help make sure we foster this in the company. Yep. All right, so what is the value proposition for covered eyes? Our primary reason for existence is accountability to help folks quit viewing pornography online. Okay? People out there struggle with that, we help them get over the struggle. We have a secondary and even a tertiary value proposition. Okay? Internet accountability means that you're accountable to someone else, so you have to have a relationship with someone to help hold you accountable. Our value proposition is, I got a friend, I want to help him or her quit porn. So we have to serve them as well. Our tertiary one happens to be families that want to raise kids to be resilient against all the harms and dangers online. So those are kind of our three that we have to, they go hand in hand with what we actually do, which is help people quit viewing porn online. Now, big market for us, our primary market happens to be Christian strugglers. They really align well with our values, so that is our primary customer segment. Now, those folks that want to help, okay, we can't just drag them along and say, oh, yeah, thanks for helping out. We have to cater to them, so they also happen to be a customer segment for us. Okay? We have to do certain things to help keep them engaged in not only the business that we do, but making sure they can actually help their friend. And then, the third one down here for us is family. So Josh asked earlier, I've got different segments, what do I do? Okay? If you have a main business model canvas, and you know you have multiple segments, you're gonna put them on different sticky notes so that you can see them. Make sure your sticky notes match. If your value proposition is different for one group than it is for the first group, make sure that way you do a line. Now, I don't have in here, I might have one more different color. We have 3 colors on a lot of them. You have to make sure that your colors all align. So if you're gonna have expenses related to a certain one, they should be on the same color. For today, I'm gonna keep it as simple as I can, but I had to have these in order for our value proposition to work, so. All right, so what is one of the channels that we use at Covenant to reach our customer segments? Well, covenanteyes.com. Okay. A lot of folks, we're dealing with stuff that happens online, you're on your computer, this is how you find us. One of the ways you find us. We also have apps out in all the major markets. Okay? Android, Apple, etc. We have those. Another channel that we do is we find and create customers by doing things like what I'm doing today. We speak at events. We have a whole team of people who go out and go to events, large, multiple thousand people, and speak at events and have a lot of products for us. It's really one of the things that we do quite well. Email is another channel for us. Okay? People don't necessarily want to come talk in person about some of the struggles they have, so you can reach us via email. And of course, Covenant Eyes has this fantastic team that moderates and manages our socials. Okay? Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, all that stuff, we do that as well. And then another group that we have affiliates, people who have said, hey, we want to help solve this problem in the world, can we help you? So we partner with them, affiliates, they help us get the word out. Finally, we have a very big presence with the Catholic Outreach Program. So within the Catholic Church, we're very present there and very well accounted for. All right, so what is the relationship that customers want with us and we want with them? Well, they want to have some sort of a dashboard, so we give them a My Account website that says they can go there and look and see all the activities of devices that they might have for themselves or their family. Go there and see that. We also have lots of support articles that we help put out there for folks to say, hey, this is how we can help you, how you can help yourself even. We have an online forum. We do lots of content creation. Okay? Now, because we are providing a service that helps people defend against online things that they shouldn't or don't want to go to, we don't, however, sell right now cell phones and things like that, hardware. So we have a call center that helps. We have a world-class contact center, I should say. They really are. People call in all the time, hey, my phone is locked up, I'm running your service, can you help me? Our contact center has helped people with Windows computers, Apple's, MacBooks, iOS, Android devices. Our folks are great and really become known for being able to help with that.
What's their phone number then, if they're helping them all that?
You gotta have an account number though. We'll sign you up, John.
Yeah, that's right. I can remove from my car.
We'll get you an account number, we'll get you hooked up. All right, so we do all of this. We've been doing it for a while, we're pretty good at it. Our revenue streams come mainly from subscriptions to folks who want to protect themselves online. Now, This isn't revenue, but it's something that is, as I mentioned earlier, if you have a revenue or something notable that you should call out, don't hide it, call it out. Okay? The allies that help the strugglers, we call them heroes. Okay? So the allies that help heroes on their journey, we serve them. We serve them for free. So we don't have actual income from them, but if you do something like that, you're going to want to call it out. Make sure people are aware we do this. It's something that you have to consider. All right, so this is everything that people see out front. The customers love us. Their allies really rely on our product to help them have conversations to make sure that they're helping their friend as best they can. Our key activities. And the first thing that we have to be great at is software creation. Constantly, we have a large development team of continually creating software and doing great things on that front and helping to keep our existing software up and running smoothly. The other thing we've begun doing about 4 years ago, maybe a little longer than that, artificial intelligence and machine learning development is a key activity that we have at our disposal now. We are fostering that all the time now. 225 folks, both remote and in-house employees, take a lot of internal operations support, so we have an ops team that makes sure that all the contact center, all the employees have all the services, the hardware, et cetera, that they need, the accesses that they have. I mentioned earlier, over here in relationships, that we have support articles, an online forum. One of our key activities is creating great content online for folks to research and review and look at. I also mentioned key activity for us, customer service. We have to continue to do great customer service from our contact center. Another one that we do quite well, we're quite proud of, marketing, sales. We are all over the internet, the World Wide Web and all that stuff, and out at events and things like that, making sure people hear our name and know what we're actually trying to do. So what are the key resources that we have? Well, in no particular order, software and systems that have been created over the years and continue to work for us. We've been around 20 plus years, and hopefully for many more. The Covenant brand for us is a key resource. We walk into certain places and we say Covenant, and it's a given. People know who we are, which is what we're after. The content that we have created over the years, so we have content creation for ongoing activity that we must do all the time. We have to continue to do that. The content that we have created over the last 20 years is still usable, and so we make sure that we have that available. That's great content for us and a resource we have to have. I mentioned our staff, and we're growing. The models, the algorithms that we've used, artificial intelligence and machine learning models that we've already created, currently sustain our business. That's also a resource that we have to do in addition to continuing to create new models and algorithms. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the conversation, we don't do all of this alone. We have some great key partners. HubSpot is a company that we partner with to help us manage our communications with our members. We happen to use Stripe for financial processing services, subscriptions and things like that. We right now use AWS to help us manage some of the bandwidth data stuff that we had to bring in to make sure we're helping our members. One of our features is clean browsing. We partner with a company that is dedicated to making sure all the URLs on the website are categorized as clean or otherwise. They're a good partner for us. All right. Nobody works for free, myself included. So wages and benefits are the cost. And I could go into great detail, and we should when you have these internally, but most of us know what cost of goods sold is. We're going to want to write those out. So this is the current basic business model canvas that we use when we say this is what we do today and every day at Covenant. Thoughts or questions or concerns? All right. I've kept you 12 minutes beyond the allotted time. I thank you for showing up today and for being great. I hope to see you all on November 11th.
So Brian, November 11th, and what time are we doing it, Brent? 9 o'clock? place here,
Oh, okay.
bookstore downtown.
Great.
So a little different setting, good for the size group I think we're gonna have. So what's that gonna look like, if anyone here wants to attend?
Yep, so, and I hope you do want to. What I'm hoping that we'll do that particular day is, you all will have on your sheet that you get to take with you, some sticky notes that write out what you have, okay? We will do a very quick review of what the business model canvas is. We'll give some more examples and talk a little deeper about how folks, including CE, use and have constraints. And then we're gonna walk around the room. I'll have more folks from Cover and Eyes come with me, and we will talk through, and I'm hoping some of you all will be willing to stand up and say, this is our business model canvas, this is what we do. And a lot of times what we try to do is we'll look at it and say, you have email as a customer relationship. We think that's more of a channel, not a relationship. That's a manner for communicating with folks. You know, so we'll get into that kind of stuff. I also would like to see us, my plan is you'll work in groups, whether you bring your own from your own businesses, might even split some of you up and have you look at others. You work in groups where you guys can talk through, okay, tell me, what does it mean that, you know, I have AI models and algorithms that are a key resource for us? People will ask questions because they don't know the inner workings of your business to help get you thinking about what it is that you do. And that will help, hopefully, will help you identify new things, or they might ask questions like, well, okay, so you do X. Have you ever thought about doing this? You might consider it, you might write it down. I would hope that we all will be open-minded. I will be for Cover and Eyes. But it'll get us thinking about what a business model canvas looks like, and even help, we might even go through some scenarios where we say, okay, clear your board. Only put down, you know, a value prop, a new value prop that you don't currently do, but maybe you're interested in looking at. Now rewrite your thing. We might say, you have some key activities that you do all the time. You're great at those activities. What else could you do with them? So it'll be a deeper dive. We'll get more into some of the inner workings. The sheets that you guys have are not as detailed as the one on the wall here. They just have the 9 boxes and the names. I might bring new ones that have some of these questions on here that will help you think about and ask more questions. But you gotta come back on the 11th for that.
Okay.
Anything else, Justin, from you?
I think we're good, thanks for coming, look for the formal invite on that. Have you finished the flyer on that yet, Brian?
They're working on it. They told me we're
Okay,
gonna get it out soon.
good, we'll get that out to you all, and hope to see you at that event, thanks for coming today.